Good morning and welcome to our very special online service this Christmas weekend. I hope that your family has had a restful Christmas at home this weekend. But Pastor Kevin and I are so thankful for the many volunteers that it takes to make church happen every single week. From our kids ministry to our First Impressions, even to our worship ministry, the countless hours it takes to make church happen week in and week out is a lot. But I am personally thankful for every single person who contributes to the needs of Restoration Church every single week. Thank you. I've been reading Psalm 136 recently, and it struck me that this is a corporate psalm, that the people of God are gathering together to recount what God has done, who He is, and they give thanks to God for these things. And so as you read through Psalm 136, which I encourage you to do today, you see just a story that the people of God are giving thanks in times of incredible stress and uncertainty, and where they're giving thanks in the midst of chaos. But we also see that they're giving thanks in times of incredible blessing and prosperity. So the people of God, what makes the people of God unique is by giving thanks to God for everything that He is and everything that He does. And so let me just read the first 3 verses for you this morning. It says, "Give thanks to the Lord, for He is good, for His steadfast love endures forever. Give thanks to the God of gods, for His steadfast love endures forever. Give thanks to the Lord of lords, for His steadfast love endures forever." At the heart of this psalm is something that is important for us to see, that year after year, day after day, that God is the same, that He is unchanging, that He continually loves His people, that He invests in His people, and that He continually redeems His people. For us this morning, that His love and His goodness remains unchanging from day to day. As we are here at the end of the year, this is a good time for us to reflect on what's happened this past year, both the good and the bad, but it's an opportunity for us to give thanks to God for who He is and what He has done in our lives and in our worlds. And that's what this service is this morning. We will hear from the people of God giving thanks for what He has done this past year. And so to start things off, let me just share what I'm thankful for. Obviously, we all know that 2020 was a very challenging and a very difficult year. For me, I found that I was constantly reacting to everything that was happening in the news cycle, and I just found myself just incredibly exhausted and tired from all of these things. I think 2020 could be summed up for me as a year of disrest and disharmony. But I am thankful for God for 2021, just that He's brought healing and He's brought vitality back to me, to my family, and I've seen just God provide rest for my soul and for the lives of my family. I've seen God just provide for me in tremendous ways this past year, but I've also seen God just love the church in 2020 and 2021. And so I'm thankful for God's just constant working and moving in my life and in the lives of others. As I look to 2022, I am excited just to see how God is going to continue to work in my life and in the lives of so many at Restoration Church. But as we hear from people this morning giving thanks on what has happened this past year, I want to invite you to just share in the comments what you're thankful for, what has happened in 2021 that you are thankful for. Restoration Church, I love you, and I will see you at the seasons next Sunday.
Hi, Dana Kalavig. I have been with Restoration since the start. Not a part of the plant team, but my family and I started coming since Sunday number 1 and loved it ever since. Things that I'm thankful for 2021. Well, we made it through it, so I'm thankful for that. Pretty healthy, family's healthy, we're doing pretty good. Been able to enjoy life. Honestly, when I think about things that I'm thankful for, I'm actually standing in front of the building right now that comes to mind. It has been coming to mind ever since we found out that this is where Restoration is going to be home next year. And so honestly, I'm very thankful for our elders I know what a challenge it's been for you guys this last year and since COVID hit to lead our church, and I feel like you guys have done an outstanding job and you've led well, and I appreciate Pastor Jake, Pastor Kevin, all the elders that have led us through this time, and so I'm very, very thankful for you all.
Hi, my name is Joyce Wilms, and my husband Ken and I started attending Restoration in July and are enjoying getting to reconnect with old friends and making new friends too. I miss being in community with fellow believers during the lockdown, and I'm so thankful that we can meet in person now. We welcomed our fourth grandchild in May and are very thankful for the health of our loved ones throughout the year. It's good to be sharing what God has done in 2021 in me and for me, focusing on the good and not my natural tendency to recall the negative. In June, I joined a group of godly women online with a focus to improve my health habits. I'm thankful for their encouragement to ask God for help in my food choices, exercise, and thinking habits, the things that I've always struggled with. With God's help, I am finding victory in these areas, and for that I'm thankful. I'm also thankful that our oldest granddaughter, Julia, was able to get back to school for her senior year at Highland High School. While I've missed having her spend as much time with me, it's fun to see her enjoying this time with her friends and growing socially. This fall, I once again struggled with a spiral downward. It is hard to adjust to the diminished sunlight and lack of social interaction that I have as a retired school parapro. I'm trying to memorize verses to stop my downward spiral. The verses I am now working on are from Paul's letter to the Philippians, which was written from a Roman dungeon, but even so, it is sometimes referred to as his joy letter. They are, "Rejoice in the Lord always. I say it again, rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is nearby. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Finally, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is loving, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Put it into practice, and the peace of God will be with you."
My name is Sharon Pence, and I have been coming to Restoration for about 8 years. Some really cool things that God has done in our lives in the last year is each and every day He blesses me, but a couple things that I'm very thankful for are He has given us health. We've been protected, and I am so thankful for that. And I had been experiencing a lot of chronic pain for several years, and He has taken a lot of that away from me, and I am so grateful. It was really impacting my life, and I am humbled by the number of people that prayed for me, the church community, friends, family. That is a humbling experience, but I am so thankful to God for giving me some relief from that. And this year, God has blessed our family with a new grandson, and I am over the moon. And he's just perfect. Little Henry is just perfect, and God's hands were all over everything. I'm thankful.
My name is Jen Sumner, and I have been at Restoration Church since this 8-year-old boy was about 6 months old. So I think it's been about 7.5 years. And for me, 2021 was definitely a year of rest. A year where I really was intentional to keep things simple. And in that I was really present with my family and really had the opportunity to reflect on how grateful I am for the simple things in life. for our family's health and for our home, for a job that I really love, and really for this church too, and the opportunity to be able to tune in on Sunday mornings from my living room. So I don't know what 2022 will bring, but 2021 has been a good year.
Hi, I'm Melissa. We've been at Restoration Church for just over 4 years now. What I am thankful for is the resilience and endurance that my family and I have faced over the many hardships that have presented us this year, and that through all of that, God has remained faithful and provided an abundance of strength and wisdom for us as we have been able to find the joy in all of the little blessings that are provided for us each and every day.
Hi, I'm Tanya, and I'm Allie.
I'm Allie.
And we've been going to Restoration for 3 years. We are thankful for a lot of things this year. Very thankful for the Yakima community supporting us in our small business, and very thankful for Restoration and the Restoration community just helping us stay together through everything this year and all the opportunities that we've gotten into, especially now that we'll be getting into a new building. We're very excited about that. Also very thankful for our family's health and just all our family in general. We're very thankful.
Good morning, Restoration. My name is Derek Sutton. My wife and I have attended Restoration for about 3 years. 1 year has been in person and the last 2 years online during COVID. We've been really thankful for the birth of a number of grandchildren in the last year. And because of their health needs, we've been forced to be able to attend online the last 2 years. And so I'm also very thankful for Restoration providing the means that we can attend church online.
My name is Donna Bernard, and I've been at Restoration since it started 8.5 years ago. There's something dangerous about asking an older person for the things that they are thankful for. Well, in all my 75 years, that would be an endless amount. So to narrow it down, the Lord gave me a word, and that word is assurance. I think of the old hymn, Blessed Assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine. And I'm so thankful that I have somewhere to go. This is not my final home. A definition of assurance says it makes one feel safe and confident. I feel safe and confident with God's love and concern for me every day. Helps me to meet problems, good days and bad days. His love and assurance for me makes me happy and thankful. I am thankful that the Lord hears my prayers, and He answers prayers. It covers my family, my loved ones, and my concern for those unsaved and for this world. I have a life verse, and it's Philippians 4:13. It's one I chose at the age of 9. I love the verse, and it also was very simple to memorize at 9. Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And He gives me strength and assurance every day. I can go to bed at night, have my checklist ready in the morning for my plans, but it's always nice and a thankful feeling to know that God's plans are always better.
Hi, I'm Adam Pence. I have attended Restoration for about 8.5 years now, just like 6 months after they planted. And I am thankful for a lot of things that have happened in 2021. A couple of the standouts are new little addition to our family, little baby Henry. Super thankful for him. Thankful for our family, for our health, and especially thankful for Restoration and the news of getting to move into a new home finally. Yay!
My name is Kelly Scott, and I've been at Restoration for 8.5 years. And what I'm thankful for in 2021 is God's provision for me and my family, for the safety and for healing this last year. I'm also thankful for Jesus being the Prince of Peace, and that as in Isaiah 26:3, it says that God keeps in perfect peace those whose thoughts are fixed on Him. So Merry Christmas.
Hey there, my name is Isaiah Drost. I've been going to Restoration Church for about a year now, and one thing that I'm very thankful for is God's provision in my life. I know these past couple years that there's been some worries in the world and even in the community that we might not have everything we need, but God is faithful. He takes care of our daily needs, not only monetarily, but also with family, with friends that we've met in the church. I've never been more connected into a church as I have been this year with Restoration. I feel like I've added new family into my life, and I'm just thankful for the continued growth that God has done in my life.
Hi, my name is Gary Steinges, and I have been going to Restoration for about 6 years. And I am thankful for the relationships that I have had over the past year. Relationships with friends in our life group, friends in the church, relationships I have with Jake and Kevin and the elders at our church, and just relationships with my family. I think God has really, over the past year, grown us closer together and just taught us new things about life and faith. So I'm really just thankful for the people in my life.
I'm Steve Altic, and this is my wife, Kathy. We've been at Restoration for 4.5 years, in the Yakima area for 5 years. We've been blessed in 2021 with our adult children and grandchildren all escaping the pandemic, for which we're very thankful. And we love our church, love the people in the church, and it's been a blessing.
We're excited to think about a new building and looking ahead for many blessings. And I also want to add to Steve's that we have oldest daughter who has had a month, well, more than a month of 2 months actually of treatment for cancer, and is going to be free of that. She had a very good diagnosis, and they will be finishing up soon, and we're very blessed.
Lots to be thankful for.
Hi, I'm Jim Herring, and I've been here from the beginning. We were part of the plant team from Westside Baptist Church, and it's been about 8 years and a half now. And I just wanted to say that this past summer, one morning I woke up and my legs didn't. And I'm still waiting for them to wake up. And I discovered that I've lost a lot of the peripheral feeling in my feet all the way up through my legs, up to my waist. And a great deal of my motor coordination has been lost as well. And during this time, God has been so gracious to bring people around me to take care of the needs that I have. Beginning with my wife, Jan, she's literally been by my side 24/7. When I walk, I have a cane in one hand and her hand in my other. And she drives everywhere we go. And even though I'm teaching in the mornings at Riverside Christian School, she drives me there in the morning. She gets out and helps me to get to my classroom. Then she stays to set up the room and update the notebooks for the students. And then she's waiting for me when class is over. In addition to that, God has brought a team of doctors around me to figure out what's happening in my body. And more than that, also during this time, my wife and I came down with COVID like so many other people. And during our time of quarantine, even more people came around us to show care to us. I even caught that Pastor Jake sneaking up to my door with soup so that we could have a meal that night. And that was going on a regular basis. In fact, I got a phone call from Rod Nipper, one of the elders of our church, to see how I was doing. And he's been doing this regularly for months and months. But the neat thing about this was he was calling from his own hospital bed. He was in the hospital dealing with his own issues, but he even took time to think about me and to see how I was doing. Now that's care on steroids, I'd have to say. The Bible has something to say about how he cares for us. It's in 1 Peter 4 and verse 7. Just let me read that to you. Hold on just for a minute. It says, casting all your care upon him, for he cares for you. This is not just something on paper or wishful thinking. Just as real as my cane has been over these 6 months, so is God's care. And so what am I thankful for this year? I am thankful that God is a God who cares for us in the most tangible ways, not just spiritually, but physically. And so this year I'm thankful for the way God acts toward us. And I just wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Man, wasn't that great? I loved hearing these testimonies, these stories of what God is doing at Restoration Church. How cool to hear what God is doing in the lives of people in our church, of how God is moving and working. I am so encouraged. Thank you to those of you who helped us create these videos. What an encouragement to all of us. You know, on this idea of gratitude, I was thinking earlier this fall, one of the kids I used to mentor at Madison House, he now works at Madison House, and I had heard that there were some leadership transitions, and this friend of mine was taking on some additional responsibilities. So I decided one afternoon, I'm going to stop what I'm doing. I'm going to stop by and see him and catch up with him. And man, that was a great little meeting. I had the chance to connect with my friend and kind of hear what God is doing in his life, hear what God is doing in his family. And I was so encouraged after this time of connecting with him. But you know what happened, and this is so often the case, is I have this feeling of encouragement, and then I go right back to the real world. I go right back to all the weight on my shoulder. The reality is, by me stopping to meet with him, I still had to go back and finish some sermons. I still had some counseling I had to lead a couple through. I had things to go with my family. I had a to-do list. No doubt that was a mile long. It never seems like my list is getting shorter. And it's funny how I was in this moment of encouragement and feeling good, and then I get right back into the real world. Well, I've got the worry and the stress and the list of things that have to be done. But you know, the weird thing is that night after my workday, after I got the kids in bed, after I was laying in bed, I thought back to meeting with my friend. I thought back to hearing what's going on in his life. And I'll be honest, I was so thankful for my friend and for that few minutes with him. And the weirdest thing is, here I am laying in my bed thinking about my friend, and God brought back that joy into my heart while I was laying in bed. And isn't that the power of gratitude? You see, gratitude is so important for us as Christians. Gratitude is vital to a Christian life. In fact, in 1 Corinthians chapter 5, the Apostle Paul writes, and he commands us, this isn't just a suggestion, he commands Christians that we are to give thanks to God. And not just when circumstances are good, but we are to give thanks to God in all circumstances. When things are good, when things are bad, when we're stressed, when we're overwhelmed, when things are wonderful, we are to give thanks to God. But I think the question sometimes I want to wrestle with, at least for me, is why does it seem that gratitude can be hard at certain times? Like, I know as a Christian, I'm supposed to be thankful. I'm supposed to have an attitude of gratitude. Why is it hard? And I think the answer is because human nature is to focus on ourselves. Human nature is to focus on me and my needs and my wants and my list and my own thoughts and my own things. And so I become inward focused, focusing on me and me alone. But I want to read to you these words from Philippians chapter 4, starting in verse 6. The Apostle Paul writes and says, "Do not worry about anything, but in everything, through prayer and through thanksgiving, present your requests to God." He says in everything, in every circumstances, whether it's good or bad, you are to pray. You are to have gratitude. And then Paul continues in verse 7 and says, "And the peace of God that surpasses all understanding will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus." You know, if we're being honest, people that are discontent and bitter and dissatisfied are typically people that have ungrateful hearts. Typically people who are focused on themselves, on their own thoughts, on their own opinions. Yet as I think about my life, I think about me, man, I long for that peace. I long for that moment that I can just be in joy. And what Paul just said is that peace is found. Peace is found when we commit our lives to prayer and to gratitude. That when prayer and gratitude become the priority of our hearts and our lives, that is when we receive the gift of God, the gift of peace that passes all understanding. And that is what this gratitude service was for today. Simply a way to help us prioritize and practice gratitude in our own hearts and in our own lives. And that's why I can't say thank you enough to those of you who shared your story with us today. I am so encouraged by that. I am so encouraged by that. But listen, if you're watching today and you didn't get to share one of these videos, could I ask you to do this? Could I ask you in the comments of this video, would you share with us, what are you thankful for? What has God done for you this past year? Maybe it's something that God provided for you, a new job, a new house, a relationship. Maybe it's something that God carried you through. You survived another year of this, another year of that. Would you share with us what you are thankful for? We want to be able to be encouraged by that and encourage you as well. And as a people, here's my question. Here's our takeaway for us today. How can we be a people that prioritize gratitude in our lives? I want to encourage you to make this a practice of your life, is to have an attitude of gratitude. So here's just some simple ways for you to maybe grow in gratitude. Maybe you start a gratitude journal. A gratitude journal is simply something that you, a notebook that you write every day, something that you are thankful for. You think back, hey, here's what happened today. Man, I'm thankful for this. And guess what that does? It begins to teach your mind to look for the things that you are thankful for. What if for you, maybe you decide to write a weekly thank you card to somebody that you know. Hey, I want you to know you're noticed. I want you to know I'm thankful for you. And just send a weekly thank you card. Man, you'll be surprised what that does in your own life to begin to realize how thankful you are for the people that God has placed around you. And maybe another simple thing. Maybe you begin to practice verbal affirmations for the people around you. Hey, wife, man, I love you. Here's what I love about you. Thank you for this. Kids, friends, whatever it happens to be. Listen, Restoration Church, I love you guys. And as I think about what I am thankful for, I'm thankful I get to be a pastor at Restoration Church. It is a joy, and I am so thankful for each and every one of you. Let's go ahead and pray. God, we just praise you. We praise you that you are still alive, that you are still at work. God, I praise you for the testimonies of what you are doing at Restoration Church, of what you have done. So, Lord, I just pray that we would take to heart this idea of having an attitude of gratitude. That, God, as we think about where we are in life, and maybe we're overwhelmed, and maybe we're anxious, and maybe we're worried, God, I pray to help us in everything through prayer and thanksgiving to present our requests to God. God, give us the ability, give us the heart, give us the attitude of gratitude, that in all circumstances we can still see what you are doing. And Lord, I pray that as we practice this attitude of gratitude, that you would take this next year, 2022, and God, you would make it the best year ever. Not because we're absence of circumstances, but because we are continually looking for where you are working. God, we love you and we praise you, and we ask this in your holy and precious name. Amen.
What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for cake. And I'm thankful for apples.